Holy Father, may I present General Helm, commander of the SS in Italy.
Your Holiness, I've come to pay you my respects and to inform you officially that the German army is in total control of Rome.
In other words, General, your forces have occupied our city.
And I'm to convey the Führer's personal guarantee that Vatican neutrality will continue to be respected. In return, I would ask Your Holiness to confirm in your communiques German troops, particularly SS detachments, are behaving correctly and with restraint.
I shall be happy to report that you have asked me to confirm that, General.
May I present Colonel Herbert Kappler? Colonel Kappler has been personally selected by Reichsführer Himmler as head of police in Rome.
I'm relieved to hear that the German police consider it their duty to protect ordinary citizens.
My duty is to maintain order in the streets, discourage resistance, and to round up escaped prisoners.
Prisoners?
After Italy's capitulation, many enemy prisoners of war escaped from prison camps and were left unguarded.
We have reason to believe that large numbers are heading for Rome. Some may even be making for the Vatican to seek refuge. These, of course, will be arrested before they reach here. But in case of unfortunate incidents, I intend, with your permission, to have a white line drawn across the opening of St. Peter's Square. The line will show the exact start of Vatican territory and at the same time make my men aware of it and prevent any of them, any armed German soldiers, from violating it.
Well, I thank you for your consideration, Colonel. And I can only hope that our relations between the Church and your armed forces will remain as reasonable. Good day, gentlemen.
It's certainly a relief, Holy Father. They seem prepared to act reasonably.
He must have been very sure of my permission. Kappler is the one to watch, of course, with his white line. It is not meant merely to keep his men out. It is a reminder to us of our authority, of how far we can go. Monsignor Flaherty. I am told that for the first time in living memory, our work at the Holy Office is nearly up to date.
We're getting there, Your Holiness, slowly but surely.
Walk with me, my son. Our work here is never easy, but the war has made it infinitely more complicated. Every day the white line becomes more like a prison wall. And every day we become more aware of all the suffering outside. So many calls for help.
One does what one can, Holy Father.
Each of my priests must do as his conscience tells him. I only ask that whatever action is taken, it does not affect Vatican neutrality. However, although officially I am unaware of my priest's activities, it also means that there is very little that I can do to save any of them if they are caught. This is something I wanted you to see, Monsignor. The glories of the Vatican Palace that I used to love so much when I was a boy now packed away down here. Irreplaceable treasures, Leonardo, Raphael, and relics infinitely more precious of St. Francis, of St. Catherine of Siena, the records and archives, letters from St. Augustine, from Martin Luther, even from Henry VIII of England to the Holy Office seeking for a divorce. Nearly 2,000 years of history.
Staggers the mind, Holy Father.
And here it is now, buried beneath the ground behind steel doors from the threats of shells and bombs, protected from man's inhumanity. Our past is full of bloodshed, Monsignor. Armies have trampled us, yet nothing has changed. Conquerors may come and go, but the eternal church must remain.
And so it will, Your Holiness.
I have inherited the responsibility of all the popes right back to St. Peter himself. My greatest single duty is to preserve the continuity of the centuries, the heritage and existence of the Holy Church. I have been condemned by many for not speaking out against Nazism, for making a concordat with Hitler, which guaranteed the life of the Church in Germany. Was I wrong?
It may not have seemed so at that time, Holy Father.
Well, perhaps I could have done more. The White Line is a very precarious boundary for us now. It's impossible to defend it.
I was surprised to see the Palatine Guards carrying arms.
Only a token. I've learned that Hitler has drawn up plans to invade us and to create a puppet papacy in Liechtenstein under his control.
Surely you don't think he'd go as far as that?
That depends on many factors. On the progress of the war, on the result of secret negotiations, on how great a danger the Vatican seems to the military authorities here in Rome.
I understand the difficulties.
I'm glad you do. I'm glad you realize that any activities which give the Nazis an excuse to invade our territory must be avoided at all costs. All such activities must cease. The essence of statesmanship is compromise, Monsignor.
I'm not a statesman, Your Holiness. The questions I ask are more simple. I look at things and try to understand them in simpler ways.
Yes, what question are you asking yourself now?
The only one that seems to matter, Holy Father. What is our duty when we come face to face with evil?
We must fight it.
If we must fight, how can we compromise with it?
In the abstract, we cannot. In practical terms, it is sometimes necessary to proceed slowly and with caution.
But isn't that the same as saying it depends on the circumstances? When I was an altar boy, the old priest who taught us used to say, do what is right, come hell or high water, and God will give you the upper hand.
Sancta simplicitas. For some, it is easier than others.
Is it ever right to see innocent people in mortal danger and turn your back on them? Holy Father, at this very moment, I'm responsible for the safety of over 4,000 people hidden in Rome and outside the city.
So many. I have spoken to you from the heart, my son. You must do what you believe best. Think of what I have said. God guide your decision. Stay where you are, my son. No need to rise. I have only a few moments. This is a great day. I have to speak to our people. But first, I wanted to speak to you. In this imperfect world, you may never receive the honor that is due to you. But I wanted you to know that in my heart, I honor you. I talked to you once of the treasures of the church. Perhaps I deceived myself. The real treasures of the church, what makes it imperishable, is that every once in a while, someone comes to it, my son, like you. May the Lord watch over you.